It's sports time, and when it's time for sports, it's time for the Pressbox Chatter Show, your ultimate in-game for all things sports, all local. Each week, our guys are bringing you exclusive high school game content, in-depth insights, thrilling recaps, exciting previews, and taking you inside the pivotal plays of all of your favorite local high school teams like never before. So turn up those speakers, because it's no limits, no excuses. It's the Pressbox Chatter Show on WCLN.
Welcome to this week's Pressbox Chatter Show on Oldies 1170 AM, Star Communication Channel 16, Oldies1170.com, and Mixler app. Pressbox Chatter is sponsored by Crumpler Plastic of Roseboro, Sampson Orthopedic Group, Star TV, and the Sampson Independent. Go to the Sampson Independent's website, ClintonNC.com, to see the video replay of each week's show, and also audio replay is available at Oldies1170.com. This week's show, we will review action from last Tuesday, October 29th through yesterday, and preview any upcoming week's action. Jeff Sauble going solo tonight. Brant Young, the sports editor of Sampson Independent, kind of come down with a little bug. He'll hopefully be back next week. I guess if there's never a good time to get sick, but if there's some time for a local sports editor to get not feeling well, it would be in the lull between the fall and winter sports. And we've kind of hit that lull now with all the fall sports concluding except for soccer and football, as soccer playoffs will start this Saturday. Football playoffs start the following week. So hopefully Brant gets a quick recovery. We'll be back next week. And Jonathan Griffin's out being the parent taxi tonight to his daughters and son. I told him to enjoy that because next thing you know is other parents out there can relate to. Next thing you know, your children are asking for the car keys or to borrow the car or having their own car, and you never see them much anyway. So enjoy the time being the chauffeur tonight for your children, Jonathan. We're going to review a lot of the sports that have concluded so far. Cross country has concluded, so has women's tennis, volleyball, and women's golf. And we'll go over that. Then we'll hit soccer, which is still going on, and football as well. Our interview today will be with assistant coach or co-coach of the Herald's women's tennis team, Manny DeBose. And we'll interview her about 6:15 as the Herald's women's tennis team got to the semifinals of the state and had a very successful year. And we'll talk with Mandy about her team here shortly. Middle school sports for Sampson County have concluded their fall sports, and in the fall, for volleyball, Midway was the regular season and tournament champ, and Roseboro-Salemburg Middle School was the regular season and tournament runner-up. In soccer, Roseboro-Salemburg was the regular season and tournament champ. Hopton was the regular season runner-up, and Union Middle School was the tournament runner-up. And in football, Sampson Middle School was the regular season champ, and Hopton was the regular season runner-up. Congratulations to the players and coaches of those teams in the fall. Cross country had their state championship meet this past Saturday. And for Clinton was one out of our two counties. We had one runner participating, and that was Ruby Davila, and she placed 79th out of 137 runners, and she's a sophomore. For the Southeastern Athletic Conference, the Clinton men were the conference champions. The runner of the year was Demetre Love from West Bladen. He was also first team all-conference. Like I mentioned, he was runner of the year. For Clinton, Eric Batista was second team all-conference, and D'Angelo Santiago was second team all-conference. For Midway, Lucas Wilson was second team all-conference, and the coach of the year was Perry Gillespie, again of the champion Clinton Dark Horses for the men. In the women's side, Midway were the conference champs, and their first team all-conference runners were Amy Rios, Alondra Acosta, and Mary Harris. Their second team all-conference was Odalis Maringo and Kylie Ives. For Clinton, their first team all-conference was Ruby Davila, and she was also the conference runner of the year. Haley Mathis was also first team, and so was Evan Gillespie. Kate Hobson was second team all-conference. And the coach of the year was from the conference champions, Midway, J.D. Lockamy. Congratulations, Coach Lockamy, coach of the year in the Southeastern Athletic Conference. In the Carolina 1A, the Hopton women finished in second place in the conference there. Golf, regional qualifiers in golf for women's golf. From Hopton, Katie Britton, she was the first ever Hopton Wildcat to qualify to the region. Midway was Maya Gwynn, and for Clinton High School, Ella Rice and Larkin Best both qualified for the regionals there. And in tennis, which finished up last week for Clinton, they finished 12-10. They were the conference champs, and they got to the third round of the playoffs. They got to the final 8. For the dark horses, number 2 seed Lily Williams finished with a 9-8 record. Abby Sinclair was 11-7. April is a junior. Madison Avery, also a junior, was 15-4 as the number 4 seed. Allie Naylor, a sophomore, was 10-4, and Delaney Pearson, a sophomore, was 8-3. In doubles, the number 2 doubles, Xana Royal and Lily Williams finished 10-5, and Avery and Naylor finished 12-3. So a lot of them coming back next year on a very successful season, getting to the third round of the state playoffs this year with the dark horses. Regional qualifiers, Naylor and Avery qualified in singles, and Emily Edgerton and Sinclair qualified in doubles. And all conference for Clinton High was April Sinclair, Madison Avery, and Emily Edgerton. West Bladen finished 9-5 in tennis in the Southeast Athletic Conference. They were second in the conference overall. Number 1 seed Yuri Santana, a senior, finished with a 6-6 record. Lauren Douglas, a junior, was number 2 seed. She finished with a 7-5 record. Faith Wren, a junior, led the Knights overall with wins as a number 3 seed. She had 9 on the season with a 9-3 record. Lily Anderson, a junior, was 7-4 as a number 4. And Valerie Lopez Martinez was a junior. She's 6-5 as a number 5 seed. In doubles, Douglas and Santana finished 7-3. Anderson and Wren finished 7-3 as well. And the doubles, Sanchez and Douglas qualified for the regionals from the conference for the doubles. East Bladen finished 4-7 in their overall. They finished second in the Waccamaw 1A, 2A. They lost in the first round of the playoffs. Chandler Bordeaux finished with a 5-5 record as a number 1 seed. She's a senior. Leah McGill was 5-5 as a number 2 seed. And playing between the 5 and 6 spots, Kilmore Jernigan finished with a 6-3 mark. And that gets into tennis, except for Harrells. We will talk to Harrells, who finished with a 14-8 overall record, semifinals of the state. They got to the Final Four. And we're going to talk to Mandy DeBose, co-coach of the Harrells Christian Academy Crusaders, and about her tennis team coming up next. Thanks for joining us here tonight on Pressbox Chatter. We'll be back after these messages.
The Pressbox Chatter brought to you in part by Crumpler Plastic Pipe Incorporated, agricultural drain systems, constructed wetlands, septic sewer drain pipes. For more information, call 910-525-4046 or log on to the website www.cpp-pipe.com.
Stay in the game with Sampson Orthopedic Group. Whether it's a sports injury, joint pain, or the need for expert surgical care, Sampson Orthopedic Group has you covered. Our team of skilled providers are here to get you back and doing what you love, pain-free. From advanced joint replacements to comprehensive sports medicine, we offer personalized, compassionate care that will get you back to doing what you love. Discover expert care right here in your community at Sampson Orthopedic Group. Call Sampson Orthopedic Group today at 910-590-1001. Again, call 910-590-1001 and stay in the game with Sampson Orthopedic Group.
The Pressbox Chatter brought to you in part by Crumpler Plastic Pipe Incorporated, agricultural drain systems, constructed wetlands, septic sewer drain pipes. For more information, call 910-525-4046 or log on to the website www.cpp-pipe.com.
Back on Pressbox Chatter here, and right now we're pleased to be joined by Mandy DeBose, co-coach of the Harrells Christian Academy Crusaders, and a very successful season this past year, reaching the semifinals of the state. Thanks for joining us, Coach DeBose.
Thank you for having me.
How did go ahead and just discuss your regular season? You finished the regular season mark with a 12-7 record. Some of the high points you had during the regular season.
Oh my goodness. Probably some of our biggest high points were, while we did not beat Rocky Mount Academy, we fell short one game each time, which was the closest we've ever been. But we were able to beat Faith Christian Academy both times, and that was a big accomplishment because last year we tied with Faith for the conference third runner-up, while this year we overtook them by one, so we actually finished third solo. So that was probably two of our, I guess, biggest accomplishments this time.
And that it is a very difficult tennis conference that you are in. So we say you finished third in the conference and up getting the semifinals of state. Part of that's attributed your playoff success to the difficulties you have throughout the whole season in that conference that you're in.
Yes, we have a very difficult conference. As a matter of fact, 4 of our teams made it to the state playoffs. So that's pretty impressive to have 4 schools from the same conference to make playoffs, and 2 of us made it to the semifinals. So you hit the nail on the head. Yes, we have a very strong conference.
And then that, again, conference play got you ready for the playoffs, and you were road warriors in the playoffs, having to go to Burlington in the first round and then to Greensboro to Caldwell Academy in the second round.
Yes, Burlington Christian, actually, we lucked out, and they came to us the first match, and that one worked in our favor. But then we did indeed go to Greensboro to Caldwell Academy for the second round, and took that one, as well. And then we ended up traveling back to New Bern for our third matchup with Epiphany School, and came up short there again, one match, but the girls left everything out there. They did everything they could. We just came up short.
And an impressive lineup of players, too, on your team. And we'll also mention that Jody Nelson is also the co-coach with you.
Yes, she is.
You and Jody coach together. But an impressive lineup of girls and a lot of youth on your team. So if you would, just take a few minutes and maybe go through, it doesn't have to be in any order, but go through your seeds or your players that you had and just some attributes about each.
Okay. So at first seed, we have Emma DeBose. She is 9th grade. She's in the first seed since 7th grade. She had an amazing year this season with an 18-2 record. She had one conference loss, one non-conference loss. At number 2, we have an 8th grader, strong 8th grader, Lily Kate Rogers. She was our 3 seed last year, and she proved herself and got that 2 seed this year. And she finished with a 15-5 record. At 3rd, we had Piper Nelson, a sophomore. Piper's been with the team since 7th grade as well. She also finished with a 15-5 overall record. Let's see. At 4th, we had Ella McKeithen. And I do not have it with me right offhand.
13-7 record I have for her.
13-7, okay, yeah.
And sophomore.
7 for Ella. Then at 5th, we had one of our 2 seniors. We had Olivia Matthews, and Olivia had a winning year. You probably have her record there in front of you.
She was 11-8, yes.
11-8. And then our 6th seed, which was our second senior, was Rebecca Bryan, and she too had a winning season, and you probably have that record as well.
She was 10-6 on the season, so all 6 seeds with winning records. That's pretty quality.
Yes, and that was a big improvement because last year I know 2 right offhand had losing seasons. So to finish the season with a 14-8 record and all 6 seeds having positive growth, we couldn't have asked for any better. Jody and I were both extremely pleased with our talent and with the outcome.
And then in doubles, you had your number 1 doubles was DeBose and was Emma and Lily Kate.
Yes, and I think theirs was a 14-5, if I recall correctly.
Yes. And
then at 2, we have Piper Nelson and Ella McKeithen. Don't recall what theirs was right offhand.
They ended up being 13-6.
13 and 6. And then at 3, we had a little bit of a switch up. We started our season with our 3 doubles being the sisters on the team, Olivia and Ava Matthews. And I think they finished, was it a 4-3 record?
Yes, they did.
Okay. And then we finished the season with Rebecca Bryan and Scarlett Robinson. And if I recall correctly, they finished with a 6-6 season. So there again, even our doubles still showed, growth and progression. No one had a losing season.
And so many of your matches, especially like with Epiphany and some others, is so close. A lot of times it came out of the singles, might be 3-3 or 4-2, and then it got down to the doubles. And again, just having quality players across the board, you got to pull out a doubles from time to time too to get that at least that number 5 overall win to win the match.
Yes, that is indeed true. And although we came up short in that 3rd round of playoffs, I'm pretty certain that if we go back and look at the brackets, we were the only team that had to play all 9 matches to determine the outcome. I know that on our first playoff at 5-1, we called it, our second playoff round at 5-1, I'm pretty certain again, or actually it was 5-0 the first round we called it. Second round was 5-1, but we had to play all 9 matches in order to get the final outcome on our 3rd round. So it was pretty tight. It was pretty close. It certainly was.
Just real quick too, people may not know. Just let's say Emma's going against the number 1 against another school. How many sets? How many games in each set? And a tiebreaker if it gets that far. Just kind of go over that real quick.
Okay, so for singles, the girls play the best 2 out of 3. So you play to 6. If Emma wins the first one, the opponent wins the second one, then they do a 3rd set tiebreak to 10. And in doubles, we always, across the board, even at playoffs, we play what they refer to as an 8-game pro set. And each match, you have to win by 2 for doubles. That you get to 7 all, you play to 9. You get to 8 all, then you do a 7-point tiebreak. So it gets a little airy in there as to, when do you do a 10-point, when do you do a 7-point. But the girls all know the rules, and we've been steady Eddie all season. So I don't really know how many matches I would say that the girls have had to, go into a tiebreak, but we've had a lot of close ones. I do know that.
Yeah, I remember going through the results, some of them, and there were quite a few that went that 3rd set tiebreaker.
Yes.
How much close it was with some of the opponents that you had. How many girls did you have total on your squad this year?
We had 12. We had a big squad this year. We did not make any cuts this year, and it's great that we have that many girls with interest. But as you know, Jeff, tennis is a very unique sport, unlike the others, and kind of like golf as well. You don't really sub in people. You have your lineup, and for all intents and purposes, it kind of has to stay that way. You may be able to shuffle one up or one down, but it kind of has to stay that way because the rule says that for state playoffs, an individual or a pair of doubles have to have played 4 consecutive matches at the same spot. So in other words, for Emma to play at one singles in playoffs, she had to have played at one singles at least 4 times. So you can't really do a whole lot of switching with tennis. So it is unfortunate, but hopefully it encourages the girls in the lower half to fight and train and get better so that they too can be in that top lineup.
Is there any of the girls who haven't mentioned that maybe were kind of on that, didn't get a lot of game action you'd like to mention, who maybe worked hard in practice and got, with a couple seniors, could move up maybe next year?
Yes. So we're losing 2 seniors. Absolutely. So we did. Ava Matthews is an 8th grader, and Scarlett Robinson is also an 8th grader, and we were able to get them in for some doubles matches so that they could get some play. Both of those girls, we look forward to seeing them return next year. Emily Campbell was another one that was really strong. Parker Thompson. I mean, honestly, every girl on that team, Kendall Irving, every girl on that team showed tremendous desire to get better. And luckily, we've got some great parents at Herald's. They go above and beyond to make sure that their girls are getting what they need to better themselves. So if everybody returns next year, we have definitely got a great group of girls to look forward to.
And I'm sure they push each other really hard during practice, as competitive as they are.
Yes, they do. They certainly do.
Now, in terms of, I'm sure some of them are involved in other sports, but in terms of an off-season training or continuing to work with it, how much can you do at the school, or how much do they just do a lot on their own?
We don't really do any at the school, to be quite honest with you. But I would say I know that Emma, Lily Kate, and Piper, I know that those three, and I did leave out one girl, I did not mean to, but Michaela Stallings, she also is another great player that next year I feel like we also look forward to having her back. So I do apologize about that. Emma DeBose, Lily Kate Rogers, Piper Nelson, I know are three that consistently play year-round and do tournaments. They do lessons, private lessons outside of school, all while also playing other school sports. All three of those play varsity soccer. Parker Thompson does a lot of training outside. I'm pretty certain Emily Campbell does. So a lot of the girls, they do. They really get private lessons elsewhere. There again, just trying to get better and trying to inch up that, progression line.
Well, Coach DeBose, congratulations to you and Coach Nelson and all the ladies on an outstanding season, getting to the semifinals of the state, a 14-8 overall record, and we'll look forward again to next year and maybe another very successful season. Thanks for your time, Coach DeBose.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Stay in the game with Sampson Orthopedic Group. Whether it's a sports injury, joint pain, or the need for expert surgical care, Sampson Orthopedic Group has you covered. Our team of skilled providers are here to get you back and doing what you love, pain-free. From advanced joint replacements to comprehensive sports medicine, we offer personalized, compassionate care that will get you back to doing what you love. Discover expert care right here in your community at Sampson Orthopedic Group. Call Sampson Orthopedic Group today at 910-590-1001. Again, call 910-590-1001 and stay in the game with Sampson Orthopedic Group.
The Pressbox Chatter, brought to you in part by Crumbler Plastic Pipe Incorporated, agricultural drain systems, constructed wetlands, septic sewer drain pipes. For more information, call 910-525-4046 or log on to the website www.cpp-pipe.com.
Welcome back to this week's broadcast of Pressbox Chatter on Oldies 1170 AM, Star Communication Channel 16, oldies1170.com on the Mixler app. Pressbox Chatter again sponsored by Crumpler Plastic of Roseboro, Sampson Orthopedic Group, Star TV, and the Sampson Independent. Go to the Sampson Independent's website, clintonnc.com, to see the video replay of each week's show, and the audio replays available at oldies1170.com. Again, Brant will be back next week, hopefully, a little under the weather, and Jonathan out with his young ones as you should be, and enjoying that time there. Jeff Sauble handling solo tonight. We thank again Mandy DeBose, co-coach at the Herald's Christian Academy tennis team, for her time and talking about the excellent season her ladies had getting to the semifinals of the state. We'll get into volleyball. Actually, we're going to lead you up to around 7 o'clock. J.W. Simmons will be on then with We Should Know. That should run from 7 to 8, and then it's a new At the Table. Excuse me, no, it will be a replay of At the Table, but that'll come on. Sydney Knowles will come on at 8 o'clock with At the Table. So stay tuned to Channel 16. You can get all that election coverage later. Just wait for that. Get JW and Sydney on, and that'll lead you up to some results of maybe what's happening tonight. Volleyball season wrapped up. And next week, when Brant is here, we're going to go over more of the team leaders for individually and statistical wise, the teams for each of the teams. We'll get into more depth with volleyball next week, and Brant's more the volleyball person, and we will go over more in depth on the teams next Tuesday. But Midway finished up 21-4. They were the conference champs for the Southeastern Athletic Conference, getting to the final 8 of the state. Their last game was last Tuesday, as we were on the air last Tuesday, and they lost to Manteo last Tuesday. Won the first set 25-16, dropped the second one 16-25. Third set was tied at 23, but Manteo got the last 2 points to win it, 25-23, and then again they dropped the fourth set 16-25 as the second set was. And then they finished with a 3-1 loss to Manteo, but a 21-4 overall record. Coach Susan Clark, an outstanding job, and the ladies up at Midway with their season. For volleyball, and as we don't have the Carolina 1A all conference, but we'll get that information as we do. We will relay that on future shows. The Southeastern Athletic Conference has done their all conference, and for volleyball, for Midway, Caden Morin was the player of the year and first team all conference. Ella Clark was also first team all conference, and Grayson Hall finished first team all conference as well. The Dark Horses from Clinton, they were 16-6. They were second place in the Southeastern Athletic Conference. They lost in the first round of the playoffs to East Duplin 3-2. And for Clinton, they had 2 all-conference performers, Karen McPhail and Kaylee Parrish finished first team all-conference there. West Bladen finished the year at 9-11 overall. They did not make the playoffs. They had 2 first-team all-conference. Emma Bryant and Greer Pope finished first-team all-conference for the Knights. East Bladen, now the Waccamaw 1A, 2A, finished 8-11. They made the playoffs but lost in the first round, and they finished up their season at 8-11. Harrells made the playoffs. They lost in the second round of the playoffs, and they finished the season with a 9-11 record. Hopton, 14-6. They were out of the Carolina 1A. They lost in the first round of the playoffs as well, too. Lakewood finished up the season 3-17, and Union finished up the season 1-20. And again, as we get Carolina 1A all-conference performers, we will get that on the air as well, too. Mintz finished up their tournament in Ohio and then came back and had their conference tournament this past weekend. And they started off Friday in the semifinals with a 3-0 win over Liberty Christian Academy, and then defeated Antioch Christian Academy Saturday for the championship, also 3-0. Finished the season, regular season and conference tournament champs, and Coach Dan Hines' team finished the year at 28-3 since 2017, and Coach Hines might be able to correct me, but I had it figured up. Since 2017, Mintz, the Lions are 120 wins and 10 losses in volleyball since 2017. Just an outstanding job there. They had 3 volleyball players make all conference, Abby Walters, Mackenzie Small, and Sadie Parrish for the Lions. We will go over also JV records. We're going to do that kind of, had some teams that were JV champions in various sports. Mintz undefeated in JV volleyball. Clinton Dark Horses in soccer, their JV team was undefeated. We're going to hit those results in another future week as well, too. Again, as the fall sports kind of wind down and for the winter sports pick up, winter sports tryouts have begun, and we'll have basketball, obviously, swimming, both for men and women, just like basketball, and then indoor track, which in the winter actually is run outdoors. So they try to get it in around the weather. Of course, right now it's really, really warm, but indoor track as well will be going on. So we have 3 sports to cover as we do Pressbox Chatter throughout the fall. That's our volleyball roundup. We'll come back with soccer next. Thanks again for joining us here on Pressbox Chatter.
The Pressbox Chatter brought to you in part by Crumbler Plastic Pipe Incorporated, Agricultural Drain Systems, Constructed Wetlands, Septic Sewer Drain Pipes. For more information, call 910-525-4046 or log on to the website www.cpp-pipe.com.
Stay in the game with Sampson Orthopedic Group. Whether it's a sports injury, joint pain, or the need for expert surgical care, Sampson Orthopedic Group has you covered. Our team of skilled providers are here to get you back and doing what you love, pain-free. From advanced joint replacements to comprehensive sports medicine, we offer personalized, compassionate care that will get you back to doing what you love. Discover expert care right here in your community at Sampson Orthopedic Group. Call Sampson Orthopedic Group today at 910-590-1001. Again, call 910-590-1001 and stay in the game with Sampson Orthopedic Group.
Welcome back to Pressbox Chatter. Jeff Salvo here tonight. Again, leading up to J.W. Simmons at 7 and Sydney Knowles at 8. And either political results or Mid-American Conference football. That was a running gag on the morning show this morning. That's the really important thing going on today is Mid-American Conference midweek football on ESPN tonight. Anyway, we'll get into men's soccer. Men's soccer now, you can have a scheduled a game this Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday of this week to get another game in. And it will count toward the RPI as long as it didn't affect or to go past your total number allowance. It couldn't go past if it was your 25th game, it would not count towards your RPI. But for like Clinton, who will play a big game tomorrow, it could count, and Clinton's number 1. We'll get in the RPIs here shortly. Then it's going to be a rapid-fire playoff setup for soccer. They'll do the seeding this Thursday. The first round matches will be Saturday unless teams agree to play Friday, which we could potentially have that with Clinton maybe playing Friday of this week. But first round is scheduled for Saturday. Second round Tuesday, third round next Thursday, fourth round then the following Saturday. So starting this Saturday the 9th through the 16th, teams could potentially play 4 games in basically 8 days. Again, it's kind of a compressed playoff with the extra time added on because of the weather and things that's happened this fall. But again, the playoff brackets will come out in the afternoon on Thursday. You can kind of get a good idea just by looking at RPIs and kind of make some projections from there. High school OT, I know, will set up projections based off what they have. And there might be a movement 1 or 2 spots. We'll see that, particularly when we talk about football here in a little bit. But for the most part, you can get a pretty good idea who you might end up playing right now. But again, it'll be coming out officially on Thursday. The Dark Horses in soccer, 21-2. They are the conference champs. They finished an 8-0 record in conference play, and they currently have the number 1 RPI in the East. They solidified that with a very important 2-0 win over Green Central, who came in last Wednesday as the number 2 team in the East. Holden Spell and Griffin Williams both had a goal and an assist. Again, raises Clinton record to 21-2. They've scheduled a game for tomorrow and another tough opponent coming in. 3A Cape Fear will come in for a 6 o'clock matchup at Clinton High School. Cape Fear has a 24-1 record, and they are 12-2 in their conference. They finished second in their conference going against the other Fayetteville schools. So Cape Fear at Clinton tomorrow at 6 o'clock. 24-1 Cape Fear, 21-2 Clinton. Regardless of the outcome tomorrow, the Dark Horses will remain the number 1 seed going into the playoffs. And of course, that means until you get to the state championship, all the rounds, Clinton will be able to host, and that, of course, is a huge advantage. Midway, 14-4-1 record, 6-2 in conference play, a very solid season for the Raiders. They are currently number 5 in the RPI, but that does not mean they're going to be a 5 seed. You seed all the conference champions first, and then they start seeding everybody else after that based off your RPI. Midway projected to be a 10 seed, the latest projections I saw today. But again, an excellent season for the Raiders. They finished off the regular season last week with a 4-2 win over St. Paul's. Max Florido had 2 goals. Joshua Santillan and Jaden Espino-Diaz each had a goal in the Raiders' win. They will also play tomorrow, and they've got a very good team coming in. 2A Spring Creek comes in for a 6:30 match at Midway tomorrow. Spring Creek comes in 14-7-2, 10-0. They won their conference with an undefeated record. They're on a 11-game winning streak. Their last loss was to Midway, 4-3 on September 23rd. So Spring Creek, the Gators, has not lost since they played Midway on September 23rd, and that was a 4-3 loss. They'll have a rematch tomorrow at Midway at 6:30. West Bladen finishes now at 7-9-1. They are 28 in the RPI. They're projected to be 29 in the playoff brackets. I saw today. Last week, they closed out conference play with a 4-4 tie against Red Springs. They were down 3-1 at half and battled back to get the tie. Kevin De La Cruz had 2 goals and assists. Alejandro Lopez and Jonah Bryan had a goal and assist for the Knights. They played yesterday, had a very tough opponent in Wallace. Wallace, I believe, if I remember saw it correctly, was number 3 in the RPI, and Wallace defeated West Bladen 10-1. East Bladen finishes the number 2 team in the Waccamaw 1A, 2A, and the 1A classification. They are 10-6-2 overall, 8-2-2 in the conference. They finished up conference play last week with a 1-1 draw against Pender, the only blemish on Pender's mark in conference play. Pender finished up with an 11-0-1 record in the conference. Andrea Garcia had the goal. Colton Daly was a goalkeeper for East Bladen. He stopped 15 to 16 shots. That's a lot of shots in a soccer game. In the 1-1 draw again with Pender last week. They're number 12 in the RPI. They're projected to be the 13 seed, which will get them a home game in the playoffs. Again, those brackets will come out this Thursday. In the Carolina 1A conference, Hopton 18-5-1, 10-0 in conference. They're also the conference tournament champs, as the Carolina 1A had a conference tournament last week. Hopton is on a 13-game winning streak right now, and they are number 3 in the RPI. They're projected, though, to be a 2 seed in the playoffs that I saw today. Last week in the conference tournament, they defeated Union in the semifinals 6-1, and then won the conference tournament with a 9-2 decision over Lakewood last Thursday. Speaking of Lakewood, 12-6-2 is their record, second in conference, 8 in the RPI, but they were projected to be a 12 seed, because again, you got to seed all the number ones first. It's projected to be a 12 seed in the conference. They defeated News Charter last week in the semifinals of the tournament, 5-3, and then again lost to Hopton 9-2 in the final. And again, it's been a solid season also for Lakewood. Of their 6 losses, 3 of them are to Hopton, 2 of them are to Pender, who again finished 18-4-1 overall, and then 1 loss to Midway. And so again, Lakewood will head into the playoffs, projected to be a 12 seed. Union finishes the regular season at 4-17. They beat Rosewood last Monday in the first round of the conference tournament 2-1, and then they lost to Hopton 6-1 in the semis. In the projection, they were the second team out of the playoffs. So as of right now, Union will not make the playoffs in soccer. They can finish at 4-17 if that is the case. And we'll find out Thursday when the brackets are released. Heroes season, they finished their season a couple weeks back, 7-10-1 overall. They got to the second round of the playoffs before they lost. And Mintz Christian Academy finished the regular season 5-4-1, but they were first in their conference. So they were conference champions. Congratulations to them. The soccer team then lost in the semifinals of their conference tournament to the Sandhills Classical Christian School. And their soccer team, if I get their Coach Hines, again, very kind, and send me his all conference there. Blake Christensen, Noah Carter, and Jamie Parrish were all conference for Mintz Christian Academy. And again, as we get the other conferences in, other conferences may have already decided they're all conference performers, but those aren't released until the seasons are over. So once soccer is over, we will get you the all conference players for the Waccamaw 1A, 2A, the Carolina 1A, and the Southeast Athletic Conference 2A. We'll be back with some review of this past week's football action. That'll be coming up next here. Thanks for joining us again here on Pressbox Chatter.
Stay in the game with Sampson Orthopedic Group. Whether it's a sports injury, joint pain, or the need for expert surgical care, Sampson Orthopedic Group has you covered. Our team of skilled providers are here to get you back and doing what you love, pain-free. From advanced joint replacements to comprehensive sports medicine, we offer personalized, compassionate care that will get you back to doing what you love. Discover expert care right here in your community at Sampson Orthopedic Group. Call Sampson Orthopedic Group today at 910-590-1001. Again, call 910-590-1001 and stay in the game with Sampson Orthopedic Group.
The Pressbox Chatter, brought to you in part by Crumbler Plastic Pipe Incorporated, agricultural drain systems, constructed wetlands, septic sewer drain pipes. For more information, call 910-525-4046 or log on to the website www.cpp-pipe.com.
Start your morning right.
Tommy the Fly here with you.
And Jeff Sobel.
All right, the Jukebox Morning Show means it's
Showtime.
That's right. On the Jukebox Morning Show, Monday through Friday, about 7:30, right here on the 1170. We'll have Today in History, birthdays and anniversaries, a look at the forecast. We'll give you useful and useless information. Don't forget, on Wednesdays, we have Moments with Martha. Martha Pierce joins the Jukebox Morning Show, 8:15 on Wednesdays on Oldies 1170 Jukebox Morning Show.
And welcome back to Pressbox Chatter, again brought to you by Crumpler Plastic of Roseboro, Sampson Orthopedic Group, Star TV, and the Sampson Independent. Go to the Sampson Independent's website, clintonNC.com, to see the video replay of each week's show and the weekly articles and updates from Brant Young, sports director of the sports editor of the Sampson Independent, and his prognostications for the games ahead. Although this week there will only be one game going on. Again, this extra week was added with football to help really not just Western schools play some more games, but also I know the New Hanover County schools and Brunswick County schools, I think Topsail as well too. That conference was pushed back a week because of the unnamed storm that hit down there and flooded out a lot of that area through there before Helene hit, and so they will be finishing up their regular season this week. So it allows them also to get that in. Other teams had the potential to schedule another game. A lot of schools, though, basically who we talk to, our coaches we talk to, they're just going to use this week to kind of heal up and get ready for the playoffs. One team that will be playing, and although it's not really an extra game because it'll get them to their 10th game because they only had 9 coming in, and the same thing with their opponent, will be Union. Union was open this past week, but they will be going to West Columbus this week. And Union is 0-9. They'll be going to West Columbus, who is 2-7. And that'll be this Friday at 7:30, and not confirmed, but that may be where the Dark Horse Sports Network is. So haven't done a Union game yet, and we'll get with Coach Mark Oates' team, and we'll broadcast Union at West Columbus this Friday, starting at 7:30 down at Cerro Gordo. And that'll be confirmed here in the next day or so, and then listen to the morning show or Nicole in the afternoon, and we'll confirm whether we're heading down there this week, bringing some Union football as well. We'll go over the projected playoff seedings. Again, this came from high school OT this afternoon. And again, these are changing, will change or have changed, and look like they continue to change, particularly with Midway coming in. We'll talk with them. We'll talk about them first. Midway had to St. Paul's last week for the conference championship in the Southeastern Athletic Conference, and St. Paul's came away with a rather decisive 59-22 win. Midway suffered a number of injuries, and again, a good week to be open for Midway. Get a chance to heal. They had a number of players go down or missed a lot of the game due to injuries. Midway finishes now 8-2 overall, second in the conference. The other loss was to James Keenan this year. So James Keenan and Midway, they're only 2 losses. They are projected, originally, I saw them early this morning, as a 16 seed, which would get them a home game against Green Central. This afternoon, when I looked, they were a 17 seed, which put them on the road, and they would go to Farmville Central. A win either way, whether 16 or 17, then more than likely they'll be going to Elizabeth City Northeastern for the second round. So again, these aren't set in stone. Brackets for football will come out this Saturday. Let me double check my paper just to be sure, but brackets this Saturday for football, and playoffs will start next week. And I'll just get to make sure we're correct. Seating will be actually Sunday. Seating will be Sunday after 1 p.m. So the seating will be Sunday for football after 1 p.m., and that's when eventually you'll officially know whether you're home or away for Union. Again, they're kind of on that 16-17 line. 16 would get them a home game. 17 would mean they're on the road. So Sunday after 1 o'clock. Soccer this Thursday. Football was Sunday with these seedings. Last Friday's game, Kamari McNeil, 17 rushes, 120 yards. Boy, he did about everything. He was about their only option on offense. He also had a 90-yard kickoff return, had a score off a hook and lateral play. He had all 3 Midway touchdowns. Will Scott added 6 tackles defensively. St. Paul's, though, just too much team speed. 500 yards. St. Paul's had over 500 yards of total offense. Midway had less than 200 on the night. St. Paul's will go in as the number 1 seed out of the Southeastern Athletic Conference, and they were projected to be a number 8th overall in the playoffs, and hosting East Duplin in the first round. Midway, again, kind of looking between the 16-17 seed. Again, that'll come out this Sunday. West Bladen finished their regular season with a 2-7 mark. They lost to Red Springs 29-20. Do everything, man. Hezekiah Blanks Adams was just really impressed about how he plays. He's an excellent player. He was 5 of 9 passing, 113 yards. He had 23 rushes for 88 yards, 3 TDs. He had 4 tackles and also a fumble recovery on defense. He's just both ways and in return game. And he's just a quality player. Amari White had 12 rushes, 65 yards. Devin Hare, 11 rushes and 41 yards for the Knights. Hunter Hester, who'd been out for a while with some injuries, came back and he had 4 receptions for 90 yards, 6 tackles with 1 sack. And Tyleek Ballard, 9 tackles and a sack. West Bladen, their season will end at 2-7 as they're not projected to make the playoffs. The Dark Horses will finish up their regular season with a 36-12 win over Fairmont. Jumped out early, 17-0. Fairmont got within 17-12, but the Horses, unlike when they got up early on Red Springs and Red Springs then came back, Horses, they will pull away and go for the 36-12 win over Fairmont. Clinton will finish the regular season now at 2-8, and they will not make the playoffs as well either. Harrell's finished up their season. They went to the playoffs. They went to High Point Christian Academy, a game that got canceled early in the year. They're supposed to play them in the regular season. The game was canceled due to Hurricane Helene, and they were the 7th seed. They went up against the number 2 seed, High Point Christian Academy. High Point Christian Academy pretty much dominated throughout with a 45-7 win. Matthew Wilson had the 1 rushing touchdown for Harrell's. Sam McKeithen had the PAT kick for the 7 points. The offense only crossed midfield once. And so High Point with the dominant victory. They now host Trinity, which will be a very interesting ball game. The 3 seed Trinity and conference champions that Harrell's is in, going to High Point Christian Academy this Friday. So it'll be the 3 seed at the 2 seed in the independent schools classification there. East Bladen was open this past week. They ended their regular season at 4-6. They're taking this week off. They are forecast to be the number 15 seed, and that would get them a home date against Southeast Halifax. If they win there, they would travel to North Duplin, who goes in as the number 2 seed in the playoffs, projected right now, and North Duplin would have a bye. It's not all 1A schools. The top 1A schools have games. Union is projected to be a 25 seed, even though they're winless, and they would go to number 8 Perquimans. And again, those things change as some teams are still playing this week. And again, brackets come out this Sunday after 1 o'clock. Speaking of Hopton, they played North Duplin this past Friday. North Duplin came in undefeated, 8-0 record, and Hopton gave them everything they could handle and more. Eventually took a lead late, 31-28, with about 1 minute and 50 seconds left is what we got on our notifications. And then North Duplin quickly came down the field and scored, and they come out with a 34-21 victory over the Wildcats. Similar type game for Hopton as they had against Lakewood in that both teams scored 5 touchdowns. Lakewood defeated Hopton 34-30 a couple weeks ago, and Hopton had 5 touchdowns in that game. Didn't convert 1 extra point, either kicking or going for 2. Now this past week, same thing, 5 touchdowns. They did kick 1 extra point, got them to 31. The difference in both games, Lakewood and North Duplin getting to 34 each game, is they've been able to either get their kicks or get some 2-point conversions in there. So I know Coach Silas kind of kicking himself, just can't get the conversions there. His team's been battling well. He was looking to have another game this week. I know he contacted a lot of schools. Originally they were set up to play Smithfield-Selma this Friday, but Triple S backed out now this week. And so I know Coach Silas, anytime Coach Silas can play a game he wants to play, he'd take out the open week if he could during the regular season. Corral Phillips for North Duplin. They're all everything back. 34 rushes, 266 yards. He has 1,468 yards on the season. He scored 176 points, which puts him number 3 in the state, regardless of classification. And he started the game with an 80-yard kickoff return, so Hopton found themselves down right away. Joe Corbett, continuing his great season, 4 touchdown passes. Just his touchdown pass yardage alone was 131 yards just for the 4 touchdown passes. Malachi Clegg had a touchdown pass as well too. And then they're all everything receiver. And when we saw him go against Lakewood, just make some outstanding catches. Reggie Thompson had 4 touchdown receptions, and his touchdown catch yardage, just the yardage for his touchdown catches, was 106 yards. And Javante Johnson had 1 touchdown receiving. They are projected to be a 20 seed, and unfortunately, and not that they can't beat this team, but they were to go to number 13 Rosewood. And there's always something, never like to go to the playoffs, and in the first round you end up playing somebody from your own conference in the first round. Second round, you could potentially see that and all onward from there. But First round, you hate to go against somebody from your own conference, but Hopton against Rosewood is what the projection is right now. But again, Hopton's nothing to back down against Rosewood. They can give them all they can handle and could easily beat Rosewood in that first round of playoffs if that is who they play. Lakewood had a quality win Friday, down 6-0 at halftime to Rosewood. Deshaun Carr caused a fumble, recovered it, and ran it in for a touchdown at the beginning of the third quarter. And eventually then Lakewood will score late in the game and get a 16-12 win over Rosewood. They finished 7-3 in the conference, 7-3 overall, second in the conference. Deshaun Carr, besides his fumble, causing the fumble, recovering it, running it for TD, he had 8 rushes for 42 yards on offense. Reed Ammons, who's filled in admirably, the freshman at quarterback, 8 of 11 passing, 106 yards, 4 rushes, 32 yards, and also 5 tackles on defense, doing everything there. Nakai Owens, 16 rushes, 98 yards, 1 touchdown, and he had 4 tackles and a fumble recovery on defense. Dontavia Smith, 6 receptions of Reed's 8 completions for 67 yards, and Cameron Williams, 8 tackles, and Xavier Howard, 7 tackles. I'm just really impressed. I was impressed with Lakewood's defensive line the day we saw him against Hopton there, leading the defensive charge there for Lakewood. And then William Acosta making a huge difference. It's a 4-point win. William was 1-1 on PATs and 1-1 on field goals. His 4 points there, the difference in a 16-12 win for Lakewood over Rosewood this past week. In the projections, they were to be a number 10 seed, and that would get him a home date with Northampton County in the first round, if that holds. That's your football roundup. We'll be back to kind of wrap things up here on this week's version of Pressbox Chatter. Stay tuned for more here on Oldies 1170, Star Communication Channel 16, oldies1170.com, and the Mixler app.
Stay in the game with Sampson Orthopedic Group. Whether it's a sports injury, joint pain, or the need for expert surgical care, Sampson Orthopedic Group has you covered. Our team of skilled providers are here to get you back and doing what you love, pain-free. From advanced joint replacements to comprehensive sports medicine, we offer personalized, compassionate care that will get you back to doing what you love. Discover expert care right here in your community at Sampson Orthopedic Group. Call Sampson Orthopedic Group today at 910-590-1001. Again, call 910-590-1001 and stay in the game with Sampson Orthopedic Group.
The Pressbox Chatter, brought to you in part by Crumpler Plastic Pipe Incorporated, agricultural drain systems, constructed wetlands, septic sewer drain pipes. For more information, call 910-525-4046 or log on to the website www.cpp-pipe.com.
Hey, Salemberg, thanks for listening to Oldies 1170.
Back for our final segment here on Pressbox Chatter. Again, it's brought to you by Crumpler Plastic of Roseboro, Sampson Orthopedic Group, Star TV, and the Sampson Independent. And go to the Sampson Independent's website at clintonnc.com to see the video replay of each week's show. We'll mention also we did our cross country earlier, but Coach Hines, AD also at Men's Christian Academy, besides being head volleyball coach, sent me his list of cross country. Both the men's and women's cross country teams at Men's were conference champions. So congratulations to both teams there. Connor Jones, Ashley Embler, and Connor Fan for the boys finished as all conference, and Victoria Crumpler for the girls. So, as Coach Hines mentioned, and we'll talk about their JVs another day too, their volleyball team. Been a great fall for men's sports for Men's Christian Academy, and Coach Hines' volleyball team in particular, 28-3 for the season. Upcoming games this week, again, it's a light slate as we're kind of transitioning between the winter and fall and winter sports, but we still have playoffs to come up with soccer and volleyball. Soccer seedings come out this Thursday. Playoffs start Saturday. Clinton maybe starts, maybe have their game, try to move up to Friday. Some teams can move it up to Friday. Both teams have to agree to that. But brackets come out Thursday. Football brackets will come out Sunday. Playoffs will start next week. Before that, 2 big games with soccer. And Clinton tomorrow at 21-2 will host Cape Fear 24-1. That's a 6 o'clock start out at Clinton High School. And Cape Fear finished second in their conference. Clinton, the conference champs. Clinton, the number 1 in the RPI, and that'll hold even with regardless of tomorrow's outcome. But another good contest shaping up for the dark horses to get ready for playoff action later on this week. And Midway has a good test against Spring Creek, both out of the 2A classifications. Midway again 14-4-1, second in the conference. Spring Creek comes in 14-7-2. They won their conference with a perfect 10-0 mark, and they're on an 11-game winning streak. And again, their last loss was to Midway, 4-3 on September 23rd. Our lone football game this week finds Union at 0-9, going to West Columbus at 2-7. That'll be this Friday at 7:30. And again, we'll confirm it over the next day or two, but we're going to kind of reach out to West Columbus and then Coach Oates down at Union and see about the Dark Horse Sports Network going down to Cerro Gordo and broadcasting the Spartans, which we've not given them any love this year. We've done all the other county schools, but good chance maybe go see his young squad. Even though at 0-9, he's got a lot of young players. The Cromartie kid at running back, particularly an excellent ball player, as they go down to face West Columbus again, who is 2-7. And we'll confirm that broadcast if it is here. We'll do that over the next day or so. That's it. We'll be back next Tuesday we'll do some volleyball, the leaders for each volleyball teams that we cover in our area, some of the leading people in their stats, and some who performed either conference or maybe in the state were leaders. We'll go over the playoffs with soccer and then the upcoming playoffs with football. Also going to cover some of the JV results this past fall, as a number of our teams won their divisions or their conferences with some excellent records here. We'll cover all that next week. Thanks for joining in. Thanks for tuning in. Brant will be back next week. So will Jonathan. This is Jeff Sobel. Appreciate your time. Enjoy the rest of your evening here. Again, J.W. Simmons will be up next on Star 16, followed by Sydney Knowles with At the Table, and then settle in for however you want to spend your evening. Hope it's a good one for you. Thanks for tuning in.
Thanks for listening. We'll see you at the ball game.
The Pressbox Chatter Show on WCLN is brought to you in part by the Sampson Independent. Don't forget to tune in every Tuesday at 6 for the latest broadcast on 1170 AM, Star TV Channel 16, oldies1170.com, and the Mixler app. And remember, when it's time for sports, it's always time for the Pressbox Chatter Show.